Every gilded cage is built with walls of comfort. The only question is what you're paying for them.
When most of us think about Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, we probably picture it as just some classic sci-fi, right? But what if it's more than just a story? What if it's actually a blueprint? I mean, a detailed and, frankly, chillingly accurate schematic for a society that decides to trade its freedom for comfort. So today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to decode that blueprint. I mean, just think about it. When Huxley was writing this back in 1932, he was looking at the world around him, the rise of mass production, this new wave of consumerism, all these brand new psychological theories. He basically took all those threads and wove them into this incredible vision of the future, a perfect world engineered for total stability, almost 100 years ago. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Just how close did he get to predicting our world? And what's really fascinating is that Huxley doesn't even kick things off with his own words. He starts with this quote from the philosopher Nicholas Berdyaev, and it just perfectly sets the stage. It gets at this core idea. The most terrifying thing about a perfect world isn't that we can't build it, it's that we can. And if we ever actually get there, how on earth do we get back to a life that's less perfect, but, more free, more human? All right, so let's dive in. Let's take a little tour of this world state. And you gotta admit, its sales pitch is pretty darn tempting. Imagine a world completely engineered to get rid of all human suffering. I'm talking everything, from a broken heart to the fear of getting old. And it's all built on this one motto: community, identity, stability. So community, a place where everyone belongs, no one's an outcast. Identity, everyone has a purpose, a reason for being. And stability, well, that's the big one. That's the ultimate goal. A society that just runs, like a perfectly tuned machine, totally free from war, poverty, or any kind of real unhappiness. So how do you actually build a machine like that? Well, you start by mass producing the parts. In this case, the people. And that's where something called the Buchanovsky process comes in. It's the biological foundation of their whole caste system. It lets the government create, huge batches of identical, standardized humans, with each person basically pre-programmed for a specific job right from the moment of conception. But here's the thing. The cloning, that's just the beginning. The real heavy lifting is the social engineering, and it's like this three-pronged attack. First, while they're still embryos, they're chemically tweaked for their future caste. Then, as babies, they're conditioned, we're talking alarms and electric shocks, to physically hate things like books or nature, things that could make them think for themselves. And finally, there's sleep teaching or hypnopedia. They literally whisper slogans into your ear while you sleep, over and over, until those slogans become your reality. And it all boils down to this one idea, which the director of hatcheries sums up perfectly. He says it's the principle of mass production at last applied to biology. See, this isn't about nurturing humanity. It's about manufacturing it. It's a literal assembly line for people, designed to make sure every single product is identical, predictable, and does its job without ever asking why. Okay, but what happens if a crack appears in the system? Despite all this incredible conditioning, what if someone feels just a flicker of sadness or a moment of doubt? Well, you can bet the world state has an answer for that too. And that answer is called soma. Think of it as the ultimate tool for social control. It's not just a drug, it's basically a state-mandated ritual. It gives you an instant holiday from anything bad you might be feeling. It makes sure that happiness is always, always just a little pill away. And the best part? No hangovers, no nasty side effects, just pure, blissful ignorance. And you can really see how deep this dependency goes from one of their main sleep-taught slogans: a gram is better than a dam. It's just a conditioned reflex for them. I mean, why would you ever actually face a problem when you can just swallow it away? Soma is that perfect chemical cushion that just absorbs every bump in the road, making sure that big, stable machine just keeps on running, nice and smooth. So, into this perfectly engineered, perfectly calm world walks a total anomaly. An outsider named John. He was raised on something called a savage reservation, a place where the old, messy ways of life are still a thing. He's read Shakespeare. He actually understands concepts like love and pain and God. And right there, that's the core conflict of the whole story. You've got this society that has literally engineered deep feeling out of existence. And then one man shows up who desperately wants to feel all of it, the good, the bad, and even the agonizing parts. I mean, just look at the contrast. On one side, you have these shallow, throwaway, consumerist jingles that the world state drills into people's heads, ending is better than mending. Then on the other side, you have the deep, complex, incredibly beautiful language of Shakespeare that John uses to make sense of his world. It's a clash between a culture of surface-level slogans and a culture of real, meaningful art. And this whole clash of values, it all leads to one of the greatest philosophical showdowns in all of literature. You've got John the Savage on one side, and on the other, Mustafa Mond, who's basically the top dog, the world controller for Western Europe. And here's where it all gets laid out on the table. Mond is defending his utopia, a world built on total security and guaranteed happiness. But John's response is incredible. He doesn't just ask for freedom, he claims the right to danger, to tears, to sin. He is literally claiming the right to be unhappy. What's so chilling about Mond's argument is that it's so logical. He straight up admits it. He says, yeah, we sacrificed great art, we got rid of real science, we threw out profound truths, but he argues it was a trade, a necessary trade to get a world without war, without misery, without society completely collapsing. For him, stability is the ultimate prize. And this is John's powerful answer. He just completely rejects their sterile paradise. He says, I don't want comfort. He demands the entire, messy, full spectrum of human experience, even if that means pain and suffering. Because to him, that's what it means to be truly alive. He's claiming the right to be human. So in the end, Huxley doesn't really give us an easy answer. He's not trying to solve the problem for us. Instead, he just leaves us staring at the same terrifying choice that he saw coming, even back in his own time. Years later, in a foreword he wrote after World War II, Huxley laid it out even more clearly. He basically said he was afraid humanity was trapped between two awful futures. On the one hand, you have brutal, old-school, jackbooted tyranny. But on the other, you have something much quieter, a welfare tyranny. A world where we're not controlled by force, but by our own deep desire for an easy, comfortable life. A tyranny that we'd actually learn to love. And that, of course, brings the whole question right back to us, doesn't it? Right here, right now. When you think about our world of instant gratification, entertainment fed to us by algorithms, and chemical fixes for whatever's bothering us, suddenly Huxley's vision feels a lot less like science fiction and a whole lot more like a weather forecast. It really forces us to ask ourselves, in our non-stop pursuit of comfort and an easy life, what essential parts of being human are we choosing to trade away?